Ladies and gentlemen, this is your captain speaking. Welcome aboard Epic Airways. This guided tour of Mount Fuji will be hoping to depart shortly. The local time is 2:15, the weather is a stunning 29 degrees, and with clear visibility to allow us for some great sightseeing opportunities. Once we're in the air, the cabin crew will be around to offer a light beverage or snack before the epic tour shall begin. I, of course, will speak to you before we reach our destination, but until then, sit back, relax, and enjoy your flight. Cabin crew prepare for departure.
Okay, so the captain's turned off the seatbelt light, but I totally recommend that you keep it fastened just in case of any unexpected turbulence. As Fuji is now in visual range, I think it's a great time to start our tour. My name's Christian, and I'll be your epic guide today. Please save any questions for the end in the comment section below. I'll just ask one of the cabin crew to bring out the monitors for us, and we can get started. Excuse me, love? You couldn't get the monitors out here so I can start the tour, please? I can see them coming now. Yeah, that's fantastic. Cheers, love. Oh, okay then. So the DVD is starting. Oh, ouch. That's a bit loud. Let me just turn that down. Oh, sorry about that. Can you hear me now? Okay, let me just press play and we'll crack on. We're currently flying about 60 miles west of Tokyo, located near the Pacific coast of central Honshu. Mount Fuji is, of course, a huge symbol in Japan. The mountain contributes to Japan's physical, cultural, and spiritual geography. Now, you're actually looking at a stratovolcano, which is known as a composite volcano built up of many layers of hardened lava, pumice, and ash. There are 5 volcanoes here, with the 3 most well-known being Komatake, Kofuji, and of course the youngest on top, Shin-Fuji. Now, before anyone asks, it actually is still active. The last eruption was over 300 years ago, in 1707. It killed like 20,000 people. But I've asked the captain today to keep a close eye on it so we can enjoy the tour without worrying about, being turned into human marshmallows. Fuji is, of course, the tallest mountain in Japan, standing at 3,776 meters. This proudly appears on many t-shirts and merchandising in all of the local shops. Of course, if you're American, it's just less than 12,400 feet. Now, altitude sickness can appear anything over 2,500 meters, providing you're up there for an extended period of time. However, should you be concerned, you can find these stupidly expensive cans of air dotted around all the local shops and stations. In our opinion, it's clever marketing and not needed. Well, that reminds me, it's time for a quick word from today's sponsor. Introducing the pointless can of air. Air. Without it, you'll die.
Sold in all good shops and some bad ones too.
Now, if you're actually planning on climbing Mount Fuji, you have a 2.5-month window from July until mid-September. Now, you certainly won't be climbing it alone. Every year, more and more people are taking up the small hike just to cross it off their bucket list. Don't really consider it climbing. Think of it more as a fashion show. With some of the richer locals, they rock up with the latest branded climbing gear, complete with hundreds of accessories that they just don't need. Now, if you're anything like me, before you try to do anything these days, you're going to go onto YouTube and follow the advice of some random travel blogger. Some kid that climbed it 5 years ago and feels like they need to tell the world how to do it. They will at least assure you of everything you're going to need to save up and buy before you can climb. Such as hand warmers, walking sticks, brand new rucksacks, even one I saw mention a compass. Now, speaking from experience, I actually climbed Fuji myself last year, from sea to summit, and I did it in shorts and flip-flops. It took 16 hours. Now, okay, I lost a couple of toes, I broke my leg, I got totally lost because I didn't have a compass, and then I was chased by a bear, but it was pretty uneventful. So now let's just move on to the history section of our tour. And yeah, I know, history sucks, but it happened, so let's deal with it together. Now, the first person ever recorded to climb Fuji was a monk. This was way back in 663 AD. And it wasn't until the 19th century when women were finally allowed to climb it too. These days, however, it doesn't matter what your gender or where you're from, Absolutely everybody can climb it. Well, unless you're Welsh, of course. Nobody likes the Welsh. Fuji is also known for being the home of the warrior culture in Japan. Not only did the samurais use it for training, but in more recent times, you've got both Japanese and the US military forces training here too. So who says history can't be fun if you look a little deeper? So here's a fun little round for you. In front of you, I'm going to throw up some numbers. See if you can try and guess what they mean. I'll give you 5 or 6 seconds and I'll tell you what they are. So then, 5 to 7 hours. That's the time it takes to get from the 5th station, which is where everybody usually starts, to the summit. 400,000. That's right, in 2019, 400,000 people climbed Fuji. Now I've already told you, it's only a 2.5 months window, so that's a lot of people to get past. Or, there are 4 trails for you to walk up. The most popular one is called the Yoshida Trail. 500 yen is the price of a hot coffee on the summit of Fuji. There's even vending machines up there which actually cost you even more. And you probably guessed it, 4:15 AM is the time that the sun rises, which is the reason why most people are there anyway. At Epic Airways, there's only one number you need to care about. How much is a pint of beer? We're talking 580 yen in some places we found. It can be slightly more, can be slightly less. I absolutely love animals. I know that makes me so unique. But the 2 main animals that everybody comes to these Japanese mountains to see are, of course, the Japanese seru. These beautiful animals are rarely seen elsewhere in the world. They hate direct sunlight. They bumble their way through the snow. They feast on plants, leaves, and bamboo. Don't worry, they're not going to come after you. However, that can't be said for the other animal. You guessed it, black bears. Now, these guys can be found as far as Pakistan and Afghanistan, but a large cluster of the population does exist in southern Japan. Now, don't get me wrong, they're very dangerous animals, but it's so rare for you to see them. There are lots of signs dotted about warning you, but to be honest, if you actually did see a bear, you would probably be classed as lucky rather than having too much to worry about. In total, they've recorded 37 different species of animal living on or around Mount Fuji, and there's also 100 species of birds, which pretty much makes up for 1/4 of all the birds that reside in Japan. Now, if you've got a keen eye, you also see some tree frogs, some trout in the river, and numerous insects. Now, this does include, I'm afraid, my arch nemesis, mosquitoes. That's right, they are there. Especially on the lower levels, but the higher you get, the colder it becomes and the less mosquitoes. So it's a great reason for you to climb. Okay guys, let's quickly pause it there and let me get this annoying monitor out of the way. So as the captain makes his turn to fly over Fuji once again, we can all truly enjoy the breathtaking views. And I'll be right back. Okay, so where were we? Now here are some fun facts, Epic Airways style. Everyone, and I mean everyone, starts from the 5th station. You can get there via car, bus, and train. That's right, train. So you can take a train halfway up a mountain, just climb up the rest and tell everybody how great you are. Of course, the most popular thing to do is to watch the sunrise. But eating noodles, getting your walking sticks stamped at every station, and of course taking thousands of selfies to put on your travel Instagram is also very trendy too. Just don't become an Instagram influencer. People also moan that it's very cold at the top, but that's mostly due to stopping and waiting for the sunrise. So they physically exert themselves, followed by standing still, waiting around in their sweaty clothing, and it can get to like -5 degrees. So I would highly recommend bringing an extra layer of clothing just to wear at the top. And stay safe, peeps. And finally, you will hear and see a few people wearing bells. Now, some people say that these are to warn off bears, and some say that they could even attract bears. But the only thing that we know is for certain is that if you're wearing bells, you do look like a bit of a wally. So if you're going to come all this way and you really want a unique experience, why not try doing the Sea to Summit route? Just Google it, you'll find out a lot of information about it. It could take over 15 hours, but the next day you'll at least be able to look at yourself in the mirror and feel proud. Okay, well, once the feeling in your legs return and you can actually stand. Of course, if you come all this way, you're going to want to do more than just climb Fuji. To the northwest, there's 13.5 square miles of
the Aokigahara Forest.
Yeah, that's right. I pre-recorded that part because I cannot say it. The forest is so thick with foliage, it's known as the Sea of Trees to locals, but also is popularly known as the Suicide Forest. It's one of Airbnb's most popular destinations in the world. Don't forget to book now. The number of people that go in can never truly be accurate because people can go in and never be found again. However, people do estimate that 100 people a year successfully kill themselves in this forest. Tough times. So on to a happier note, you also have other forests and trails that you can explore. You have the 5 lakes where you can rent out a boat, do some fishing, or you can just sit there and relax. Speaking of relaxing, there are plenty of hot springs and spas for you to pamper yourself. And if you're somewhat of a thrill seeker, there's even a small amusement park near the base of Fuji that you could probably spend half a day into. That's called Fuji Q. So if you can combine all of this with the climb, go caving, go chase some bears, try out the local cuisine, and of course enjoy the cherry blossoms, then I think you'll find that Fuji is a great adventure to be had. It's certainly something that you can knock off your bucket list, and it has something for everybody to enjoy. So that brings us to the end of today's epic tour. I hope you've learned a little bit about the place, and if you've got any questions, I'm sure you know where to ask them, and it's nice to be liked, if you know what I mean. So look out for other videos in our collection, such as the Northern Lights in Iceland, which is due to be released next week. But for now, I'm going to close down the screen and leave you to enjoy these fantastic views for just a little while longer. All that's left for me to say, it's been a pleasure flying with you all today. I've been Christian. Good flight and good night.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is your captain speaking. We are making our final preparations for our descent. I hope you've enjoyed your guided tour today. So on behalf of myself, my co-pilot, and all the crew aboard, we thank you for choosing Epic Airways and wish you a pleasant onward journey.